Hello and welcome to my channel, and thank you for choosing to watch this video. Before I go to today's topic, I would like to highlight a few very important points regarding the information contained in my videos. I want you to be aware that the information I'm sharing with you is an expression of my own opinion and views resulting from my research and observations that I carry out. So the knowledge I have is not book knowledge. Therefore, it can be proven. The materials shared by me are not intended to offend anyone or change someone's views or beliefs. My aim is to actually encourage you to reflect on your belief system and therefore motivate you to build your own strong opinion around a given topic. The way you perceive my videos is based on your subconscious programming, therefore I cannot take responsibility for it. I hope it's all clear now. So now that all has been said, let's move on to today's topic. In today's video, I would like to share with you my personal views on the virus and the fear that is strongly associated with it. For months now, I have been asking myself, is it really the virus that is the source of our problem, or actually the fear of it? So let me ask you, have you ever wondered what is the source of your problems? Or maybe you never searched for the cause because you were too focused on the effects. I hope you answered this question to yourself. Probably many people would say, I have no time for this. Or, what are you talking about? I have a problem and this is what I have to be focused on. People are different. It might sound trivial, but actually, when you stop focusing on the problem and focus on its cause, you will automatically find a solution to it. That's the truth. See, the trouble is we weren't taught to look for the root cause of the problem, but instead we have been taught to run away actually from our problems or to temporarily heal them, but never to cure them completely. Because it's easier to tell someone that they are sick than to actually explain why they are sick. It's faster to issue a prescription than to spend more time tracing the source of the patient's illness. See, because on the economic side, it is the pharmaceutical corporations that bring the most income. But let's leave the economic side. Let us focus instead on the fear, or actually the effects that fear has on our lives. And here, one thing you will admit for sure. People have always lived in fear. Every day we voluntarily fuel ourselves with a dose of cortisol, a poison. Why voluntarily? After all, it's not me telling you to live in fear, but it's you who let fear take control of you. Each day we fear, and the list is really long. If we have enough money, if we have something to put on the table, we fear catching an infection or disease, we fear death, we fear betrayal, we fear future, the unknown. There will always be something new to fear. That's the reality of modern man. So let me ask you a few questions. Has fear ever solved your problem, or has it rather made it worse? Has fear ever helped you get out of your comfort zone, Or has it rather made you cling to old toxic garbage? Has fear brought you more income? Or has it rather brought you unexpected expenses and high bills? Did the fear save you from the disease, or rather deepened its development? I hope you answered these questions. See, do you remember when the viral fever hit the world in January 2020? The media went wild. Every day we were provided with negative information regarding the development of the pandemic. The number of cases was increasing day by day, and so was the number of deaths. Nobody, but nobody expected something like this to ever happen. As if the whole world had frozen. On the day of the announcement of the first lockdown, for the first time, we were all locked in our own home. And unaccustomed to new conditions, many fell into depression. Even my friends. Fear took over just because no one had any idea what to expect from tomorrow. People who had lived in, the same routine for years, suddenly after 10, 15, 20, 30 years, were forced to reprogram themselves overnight to a completely new lifestyle. Many have lost their jobs, relatives in illness. Many went bankrupt or had an argument with family members or friends. 24 hours under the same roof, it can be crazy to some. Everything that made sense so far ceased to matter, as none of the applicable laws covered this type of event. Governments around the world were faced with something completely new that required an immediate response. Hospitals were overcrowded, and there was shortage in equipment everywhere. Undoubtedly, one could say that in this case, everyone was afraid for their own life and for what will happen to us tomorrow. And yet, since the announcement of the pandemic, it had never occurred to me to panic. I know from experience that panicking and fear of fearing something only makes things worse. And here I would like to share with you my life experience. When one of my clients had a severe asthma attack 3 years ago while training together, I knew that my fear could only worsen her condition. Imagine this. I knew that I was responsible for her and her safety during training, and that I would be responsible for her death if she suffocated. Unfortunately, that day she didn't bring her inhalator with her, because she believed that her attacks were so rare that she no longer has to protect herself. Shame. What happens? At that moment, all I could think about was to soothe her and in calm voice help her relax, which was damn hard. But I gently stroked her back and told her to slow down her breathing, and luckily it worked. And although I was terrified inside as hell, I didn't want to focus on this. And when she finally calmed down, with this terrified eyes, she smiled and she thanked for the support. It was so important that I was there with her. I was so present in that moment, and I tried as much as I could to stay calm and clear my mind. So, among other things, it was this event that taught me not to panic when faced with something completely unexpected. I would like to say dangerous, but that's not correct term, as no disease is dangerous until it has fully absorbed our thoughts. And although fear is only feeling, we must remember when we let it take control of us, it can paralyze us. Seriously, it can. But also, when you're put in a hopeless situation, before an accomplished fact or unexpected situation, it is most important to get hold of your emotions in order to think clearly. So you should know by now that it's worth working on this in advance. There are many different techniques available for the emotional control work, and one of them is meditation. I practice meditation myself and I am calm. Right, so the question is, what's the problem? See, unfortunately, when someone has been living a specific routine for many years, the mind of that person partially goes into dormant state or hypnosis and then becomes susceptible to the influence of the external factors. Imagine that. It's like someone suddenly throws you in deep water and makes you swim without asking if you can. I hope you understand what I mean. One of the problems of today's man is his attachment to specific patterns and beliefs that he's not aware of. And we could say that everything we have been told so far was intended to intimidate us and thus make it easy to control. Someone in hypnosis is easy to control. Anyways, I give you an example. The fact how the face of death is presented in Christian religion. To this day, people are afraid at the thought of death, let alone talk about it. Or this one is absurd one. The Lord who watches us from the clouds and punishes us for our bad deeds. It's this belief that makes us feel guilty all the time. Or disease is immediately associated with suffering and, of course, pills, medication. Every second art is about medicines. There are also many other examples of how misinterpreting something can distort our perception of the world and the events taking place in it. You see, for one, pills will bring relief, but for another, damage. It all really depends on our sensitivity, but above all, what we believe in, our belief system. I'll give you an example. If you're often told in childhood that any pain would be elevated by a painkiller, then this is what it will be like. But on the other hand, if you have not been persuaded to take the pills, you will never feel the need to take them. Our wonderful body naturally creates a protective barrier against any virus or any bacteria. And while you might be infected, you won't feel the slightest symptom of this disease or any disease. But on the other hand, if you belong to a group of people who live under constant stress and fear, excess cortisol in body can negatively affect one or all of the body's building systems. Excess cortisol significantly lowers immunity, we must know that. Add to that your busy lifestyle, undereating, a lack of sleep, poor diet, too much work, fatigue, Do you consider these factors? How often do you do blood or urine test? Do you even do that? And what if you haven't tested yourself for years and you had deficiencies as a result of your unhealthy lifestyle? Or ignore the symptoms that something is going on in your body because you're too busy working? You know what? No wonder so many people died during the pandemic. It wasn't the virus itself that killed them, but coexisting diseases they may not have been aware of. If this was a real plague, people would be falling in the streets. And this has not been observed. That's the truth. From January 2020, I lived between 3 different countries: England, the Czech Republic, and Poland. And although I had contact with sick people, tested 4 times, it turned out that I wasn't infected myself with the virus. Luck? Case 1 to a million? Absolutely not. Just like I did with my client with an asthma attack, I didn't give in to fear. I didn't. Moreover, this time I was trying to calm many more people. I kept saying that fear and panic would only help spread the virus, not prevent it. There is a reason I haven't had a TV for many years. Thanks to this, I don't have to listen to news that is always filled with negative information. But does this mean that I'm ignoring our world's problems? Absolutely not. On the contrary, I don't listen to others, but observe and see what is true and what has been colored. I want to help you understand that it is up to you to whom and where you put your time and energy into. Instead of the news that intimidate us, I would prefer to focus on the real problems of this world, such as absurd systems that harm us, not help us, or school programming that really limits us, not develops, or spiritual development over economic development, and more, many more topics. I would love to promise you one thing. If there will be a new system, you will never be forced to do something you don't want. You will always have the right to choose, because such rights has free men. Now we are in a totally different era. The age of Aquarius, the era of Aquarius. And this age is all about collective awareness. So, in our conclusion, I want to remind you, fear is just a feeling that can be controlled. The more time and energy you devote to negative people, the more you become infected with a virus more dangerous than COVID-19, the fear virus. If you choose not to participate in group or collective fear, I would say, you will see that it's possible to function in the same world and be happy. Because the present era, as I said, the age of Aquarius, promises to actually take the blindfold of your eyes and show you what's illusion and what's reality. How you live should depend on you, not the people in power or any virus. I'm not against pills or vaccination, but I also don't support it. I take a neutral position because I have already mentioned it all depends on your beliefs. I will love you whether you're a Christian, Muslim, African, American, British, vaccinated or not. Call yourself whatever you want. But let it be up to you to choose who you want to be and what you want to do with your life, and not for the third parties. That's all. Alright, I hope this video has motivated you to reflect on your belief system, and now you will see your situation from hopefully a whole new perspective. I wish you all perseverance, patience, and above all, a lot of strength to fight for regaining of freedom and time your own mind so that you can constantly develop and transform into a better and better and better version of yourself. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and of course I will see you next time. Cheers for now, bye.